This is the Lowepro ProTactic 450 AW Mark II camera bag. This is the bag that I use for all of my photo and video live event gigs. And today I want to show you everything that's in it because it's kind of fun. Well, I say it's, I think this doesn't hold everything. Anyways, I'll explain. It'll all make sense in just 1 second. First things first, a little bit of backstory. So a couple months ago, a buddy of mine who plays guitar in a band that's local to my area reached out and said, hey, we've got a small run of shows at the beginning of August of this year. We want you to go along with us, capture photo, video, and help us make some cool stuff for social media. And to be honest, that was too fun of an idea to turn down, so I agreed to do it. And in the preparation for the shows, I was getting my camera bag ready and I was finding more opportunities to lay it out a little more specifically for what I needed for this run of shows. Usually I just throw everything in the camera bag and I roll, but I knew that for this particular project there was going to be a good amount of traveling involved, and so I didn't want to overload myself, inundate myself if you will, with mountains of gear that I didn't need. So I was very specific with what I put in the camera bag and what I took with me on this trip, and I even learned a little more while we were on the road about what does and doesn't work. And so I'm going to share all of that with you, what does and doesn't work for me for photo and video capture of live events. Yeah, so first things first, before we get into the bag, let's talk about the camera. This is the camera rig that I used specifically for video. I had two camera setups. I had a video setup and then I had a photo setup. We'll get into the photo one in a moment, but for the time being, this is a Canon R5 that is turned vertically. I'm using a small rig half cage, and that allows me to mount this handle here on the side, which obviously makes it a little easier to hold the camera when I'm filming vertical content. It also allows me to use a 2-inch NATO rail to attach the little Stinger top handle, and then to the front of that is another 2-inch NATO rail. In front of that is a small rig field monitor mount, and then attached to that is a small rig tripod ball head. And then attached to the tripod ball head is the monitor itself. Now you may be saying, okay, that sounds like a bit overkill. It's really not. The field monitor mount allows me to be able to turn the monitor up and down easily. And then the small rig ball head actually allows me to turn the monitor basically any orientation that I want and make fine-tuned adjustments to the actual angle of the camera, which for obvious reasons makes my job of video capture that much easier. The monitor itself is a Portkeys 7-inch monitor. I don't remember the exact model, but I'm going to list as much as I possibly can down in the description of this video so you can find everything I talk about in this video. You can actually build this rig out yourself if you'd like. Connecting the monitor, we have a Sony MPF dummy to D-tap battery, and then we also have a full-size HDMI. To keep those cables clean, I'm using this little 1-inch cable loom, and then the HDMI cable actually converts to a micro HDMI. It's actually a right angle micro HDMI. This keeps it from sticking up and me accidentally bumping it and either damaging the cable or the port on the side of my camera. And then the MPF dummy to D-tap, it runs to a D-tap port on the side of this Cam TV Mini V-mount battery. The V-mount battery is also powering the camera. It has an LPE6 dummy to D-tap battery, and it's run the exact same way as the monitor into the other D-tap port on this battery. And then for audio capture, we have the Rode VideoMic Go 2. Now, the argument could be made that this particular edition was pointless, and that's because I mean, I knew pretty well that I was not going to be using any of the audio from the actual shows, but just in case, on the off chance that something did end up working out, I did want to use something, I needed a source of audio. And this was a small, minimal setup. That's what I was going for. I was trying to keep the rig as light as possible. And that pretty much covers everything to do with the camera rig. If you want me to go into more detail about how I built out this vertical cinema rig is basically what it is. If you want me to go in more detail, leave a comment, let me know. I will explain more about this. I can show actually how I built it and how everything's connected. Also, the lens that you see on here right now is the Canon 100mm f2.8. It is the Mark I version of the lens. Fun fact for you, this lens actually broke while I was on the road with the band. Just before the first show, the autofocus just stopped working. And the switch actually broke off of the side of the camera as well, so that sucks. I ordered another one. I ordered the Mark II this time, so hopefully I don't have that problem again, but this was one of 3 lenses that I brought. I also brought a 50mm 1.8, and then I also brought a 16 to 35 f2.8, the EF lens. It's actually the Mark I version of the lens. It's the lens that I'm using to shoot this video. Okay, so now that the video camera has been covered, let's talk about the photo camera. The photo camera that I used was the Canon R8 with an RF to EF adapter. I actually have two of them, one for the 16 to 35 and then one for the 100mm lens. So the original idea was to use this PEAKDESIGN strap, which, bear in mind, I ordered the night before we left for the shows, and I had it overnighted through B&H. It showed up just before we got on the road, so great timing. But the plan was to take this strap and to hang the camera off of my side like this, so I can hold my video camera, and then whenever I need to take photos, set the video camera down, pick the photo camera up, snap photos, keep on rolling. That whole plan went out the window when I last minute asked my wife to jump in and handle the photo side of things, because she is an extremely gifted photographer. I knew that she could do it better than I could, and it would be one less thing for me to try to be thinking about while I was capturing this show. It's not like I can ask them to do it again. Once the show is over, the show's over. You don't get a second shot at that. So I needed to be able to capture both photo and video at the same time. The easiest way to do that was just to give the photo side to Kaylee and let her handle it. And she did a fantastic job. Here are some of the photos. Now to talk about the camera bag. Do you remember I mentioned at the beginning of the video that most everything I needed was in this camera bag? Well, that's because the Low Pro does hold most of it, but not all of it. So that's why I brought this. This is a PEAKDESIGN 6-liter sling. I will explain in just a minute how I use this, but I promise you, oh my gosh, this was a life changer. This was a game changer. This bag, I will take this bag on any photo and or video shoot I do from here on out. It was that useful. I will explain why and how in just a minute, but first things first, let's cover the backpack. First thing you'll notice, my name. Always write your name on anything that you can write your name on, because gear has a tendency to get up and walk away. But in all seriousness, it's well within the realm of possibilities that somebody would grab this bag and try to walk out and pretend like it's theirs. And if that were the case, I would hope that one of my friends would step in, see my name, and say, that bag doesn't belong to you. And then they would take my bag back and they would beat that person up Street Fighter style. I would hope that they would do that. I'm gonna try to do this without dumping everything out of the camera bag on the first take. So there we go. Oh, this doesn't seem to want to stay in there, so I guess we'll cover this first. This is the Insta360 X4. I took this with me with the intentions of shooting playthrough footage of maybe drums at one of the shows, but to be honest, it didn't happen because things happened so quickly. I never got a chance to actually set it up and film anything, and also the lighting conditions wouldn't have been good enough for the video to look like anything interesting anyways, so it didn't happen. Maybe next time. I will continue to carry this in my bag because it does make for extremely unique angles. So starting at the top, you'll notice this giant camera shaped portion right here. This is where the photo camera actually lives whenever we were traveling from one destination to the next. This is the safest place to put it, and there really wasn't an easy way to break down the video rig, so basically how I had to travel with that was just to stick it in the back seat of our car and then buckle it in. Actually use the seat belt and buckle the camera rig in so it wouldn't fling around in the car and possibly break something. Next to that, we have the drone situation. This is the DJI Mini 4 Pro. This is my drone of choice. And with that, we are using the DJI RC2. This is the fancy dancy touch screen remote. Game changer. I'm telling you, not having to use your phone anymore is, oh my gosh, it's so convenient. In this teeny tiny little pocket, I'll pull both of them out at the same time. We have, first up, we have a pair of Shure SE215 in-ear monitors. These are just super high quality noise canceling earbuds that allow you to do your job and sort of cut out all of the background noise. I carry these with me because they are a fantastic backup for editing audio. If my AirPods are dead or maybe my Bose headphones are dead, wired earbuds, you can't go wrong. Next to that, we have a Samsung T7 Shield. This is a 4 terabyte solid state hard drive. I carry this with me everywhere for backup purposes. I also edit most everything off of this hard drive. It just helps me save space on my computer. Next to that, we have my MacBook charger. There's the brick. And then this is like a 10-foot long USB-C cable. Obviously, it's not the original. It's also not a MagSafe cable. I broke the MagSafe cable, so we're back to USB-C. And then underneath that, we have the flash. Now, here's the thing. I didn't know if the flash was actually going to be useful. It ended up being a massive, massive game changer. Had we not brought this flash with us, we would have been so royally screwed at these shows. This particular flash is a Canon 430EX Mark III RT speedlight. To be honest, I don't fully understand how to use flashes like this very well. And I think Kaylee has a better understanding, so she actually made it work to her advantage. But yeah, seriously, without this, we would have been in a big, I mean, oh, it would not have been good. Moving on to this area, this is sort of a charging area, if you will. But there's also this. This is my Maxpedition. It's just an EDC pouch. I actually take this pouch and I transfer it from bag to bag as I'm switching between backpacks. I don't carry a camera bag everywhere I go. Most of the time I just carry a regular backpack. This lives in whatever bag I'm carrying because it has all sorts of things in it that I need. A pocket knife, this is the Spyderco Para 3 Lite. We have two Sharpies. There is a chisel black and then a chisel red. We have a red Pilot G2 ink pen. We have Dramamine Less Drowsy and Dramamine regular formula. I have my reasonings for carrying both. And then in the back of the pouch, we have extra AA batteries. And then on the other side in the back of the pouch, we have zip ties. I'm not going to try to put those back in because we will be here forever if I do it on camera. Next up, we have a triple slot charger for the Canon R8 batteries. It doesn't take the standard LPE6 batteries. It takes those really weird, like small kind of rectangular ones. I don't know what they are, but I bought this on Amazon. It's just a triple slot charger and it's got a little screen on top to let you know what each of the batteries' charge percentage is at. Also in here, we have two LPE6 dual slot chargers. These are micro USB powered. I carry two of them in case one of them fails. It's just, again, backups on backups, baby. On to the next slot. We have a precision toolkit from iFixit. Fortunately, I did not have to use this at any point while we were on the trip, but it's always extremely wise to carry a precision toolkit. It's small, it's minimal, but it will get you out of a bind, especially if you have failure of any type of technical device, whether it be a camera, computer, phone, watch, anything like that. This can save the day big time. Underneath that, we have a Think Tank. This is a Cable Management 10 version 2.0. This is another just like in-case pouch, but it also carries quite a lot of things that you need when you're traveling. First up is a USB-C adapter. This has an SD card, a micro SD card, two USB-A's, two USB-C's, and then an HDMI. I actually don't need the SD cards, the USB-C's, or the HDMI anymore because, well, I have a new MacBook and that MacBook has all those. But one way that I do use this is I will take it and plug it into my phone, and then I'll put SD cards in right there, import them directly onto my phone, and then edit them in Lightroom Mobile. Kaylee did that actually for the entirety of the trip. Also in the pouch, we have a standard V-mount battery charger. This is just a D-tap charger. We have a bundle of cables that are held together with a red whip or a bongo tie, whichever you want to call it. Basically, this is one of every cable that I would ever possibly need on a trip, which includes a micro USB, a USB-C, an HDMI, and a lightning cable. Next up is Tylenol, 650 milligrams. These are the big boys. These, you definitely want these when you're traveling with a band because shows are loud and you get headaches and you can't do without these. Oh, speaking of being loud, back to the earbuds. Sorry, totally forgot to mention this earlier. In the pouch, I carry a pair of earplugs. Essential. Absolutely essential. If you go to a live concert or a live event, bring earplugs because you need to protect your hearing. You cannot get that back. Anyways, deodorant, because you gotta have it. Just be prepared. Be prepared for the fact that you're gonna sweat and you may start to stink. A mini roll of gaff tape. This is a 1-inch roll. Again, this got me out of a bind at show 2, the New Orleans show. I had to mount a light to a microphone stand. I did not have a way to do that. So mini roll of gaff tape got me out of a pinch. Another black chisel Sharpie, a standard fine tip silver Sharpie, a Presto whiteout pen. This is actually a ballpoint pen, but gotta have it. A fast charging USB-A brick, and then a lighter. Don't let people bully you into thinking you don't need a lighter. You do. Keep one on you. You'll be amazed at how often you end up using it. All right, moving on. We're almost done with this bag. We have an invisible selfie stick with a friction clamp on the bottom. Again, I was planning to use this to record the drummer. Didn't get to do that. That sucks. But right here, I'm not going to completely unbundle it because it'll take me forever to get it all back in. This is actually a spare change of clothes. Right here, I have a pair of shorts, a shirt, and a hoodie, along with a pair of socks. Why on earth, Jared, do you carry a spare change of clothes in your bag? Because again, I like to be prepared. Sometimes you spill stuff on your clothes. Sometimes you sweat through your clothes. Sometimes you accidentally step in a puddle of water. Just like, do yourself a favor, carry a little spare change of clothes with you. It'll save the day more than you think it will. In the zippered pouches, first up we have, this is the Aperture MC. This is just a battery powered light. And again, this came massively in handy, especially at the New Orleans show. The venue had very crappy lighting on the stage, and I used this to save the day. I gaff taped it to a microphone stand and just aimed it at their drummer, sort of had it backlighting everybody. And this little light is almost exclusively the only reason we got even remotely decent photo and video capture of that show. So also in here is a microfiber cloth. This is one of a couple microfibers that I carry with me. And then in the top pouch is just a small bag of zip ties. And then in the laptop sleeve, obviously, we have a computer. This is my 2022 M1 Max MacBook Pro. 64 gigs of RAM, a terabyte solid state hard drive. Yeah, it's a beefy boy. Gets the job done. And then the last thing in the backpack, I almost completely forgot to mention this. In the top pocket, again, this is where I would stick the camera whenever we were traveling. Inside of the lid is a little zippered section, and in here I carry just extra batteries. These are all LPE6 batteries, and then a couple of small batteries for the R8 as well. Before we go any further, I want to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, which is ARTLIST. Now, here's the thing. I could go on and on and on and on and on about all of the great things that ARTLIST offers. I could go on about how many songs they have and how many sound effects they offer and stock footage and their new AI voiceover feature. I could go on and on until the cows come home. But the thing about ARTLIST that continues to impress me the most is just how easy it is to find the song that I'm looking for that fits the bill of what I need in such a short period of time. I mean, it takes usually less than 30 seconds of searching. Usually I don't have to click on more than 2 or 3 songs before I find exactly what I'm looking for. And something else you have to understand is, not only am I a filmmaker, I'm also a musician. So I'm extremely particular about the music that goes into my videos. It has to fit the bill perfectly. It can't be ever so slightly off. I'm going for a very specific mood and vibe with all of my videos, and I can almost always find a song that fits the bill of what I'm looking for on like the second or maybe third try. That is what I love about ARTLIST. But since we're talking about all of the amazing features of ARTLIST, AI voiceover, stock footage, sound effects, music, the whole kit and caboodle, it's all in one collected space. It's just the way that I like it. I don't want to have to go to multiple websites to find what I'm looking for. I need it all to be in one easy to find place. Not to mention the fact that ARTLIST has the most competitive prices of anyone else in the market, MusicBed or Epidemic Sound, and they offer more than both of those as well. So if you make videos for any reason, let's say you're a YouTuber or you run a commercial production business, or maybe you work at a church and you shoot announcement videos, whatever the case may be, ARTLIST has what you're looking for. They have plans that fit your exact needs. And if you use the link down in the description of this video, you actually get 2 months completely free with the purchase of any annual subscription. So thanks again to ARTLIST for sponsoring this video, for making an amazing product, and helping creators like me make better videos. You guys make my workflow so much easier. Now we finally come to the Sling. How on earth do I use something like this? The truth of the matter is, most of the stuff that I just listed off in my camera bag, I don't actually need that stuff during the show. A lot of it is sort of redundancy sake. And the things that I do need during the show, I take out at the beginning of the show when we first show up, and I don't put it back into the camera bag until after the show. That's where this comes in handy. I keep this bag either on my person or very close to my person at all times, because this is where I keep the extra lenses. This is sometimes where I keep extra batteries, SD cards, things like that. But real quick, let me just show you. So you can see inside the bag, there are 3 different slotted sections. Right here, we have the 50mm lens that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And then underneath the little flap is an additional CAMTV mini V-mount battery. This is on the off chance that the one that is powering my R5 were to die at any point. Spoiler alert, it won't. It's not going to. I used that battery at both shows, plus B-roll in between the shows, never charged it, and it still has, I think, like 62% of battery. So yeah, these things are, they are amazing if you don't want to constantly be changing out batteries. As far as the middle section is concerned, I usually use this portion for sticking the camera lens down. If I'm shooting photos and I just need to put the camera down for a second, stick it right there. But something that I learned once we got to the show is that I don't really need this anymore because I've got a camera strap. So this middle section was a little underutilized once we got to the shows. I did use it for the 100mm lens because it is a little longer, and the 16-35 a couple of times. Just stick those down in there for safekeeping, but for the most part, it stayed empty. And then for the third slot right here, get a load of this. You'll think this is funny. But you see this? You know what this is. It's my coffee. I carry iced coffee everywhere I go. Look at that. Bam. Fits like a glove, and I can zip it up if I can find the zipper. I mean, continuing with the tour of the bag, we have this top zipped up section. In there is just an orange microfiber. It's orange because that makes it easy to find. Again, if I set it down and I lose it or forget it, easy to find. Attached to the zipper is a key reel, and on the key reel is whiteout cards. Yeah, I needed whiteout cards, and I got tired of trying to remember where they go or where to put them, so I put them on a key reel. Now they live inside the bag at all times. Then in the sides, you have these 2 elastic sections, one right there and one right there. On this side, we have an SD card wallet. It carries just a bunch of spare SD and micro SD cards. And then on this side, we have a lens cap and a camera body cap that just hangs out right there. And then the last little kind of hidden slot is right here at the back where I keep my iPad mini. This has the itinerary on it, what time the show is, what's the band's call time, the order of the bands that are playing, things like that. I keep all that information on this iPad. It's just extremely useful. I do it on the iPad instead of on my phone because I tend to get distracted really easily when I grab my phone. But I do keep my phone in that little pocket as well when I'm out using this bag. And then around the front of the bag, we have one more zippered compartment. In here, I have a flashlight. This was very useful on these shows because, again, the venues were very dark. This helped me see my way around. I have a small set of Allen wrenches. I almost always have a black Leatherman rebar. I had to think of what it was called for a second. It is a black oxidized Leatherman rebar. It lives in here, acts as a multi-tool. Again, it gets me out of a pinch. Also in here, we have a small camera base plate that fits all of my tripods. And then we also have ginger chews because I tend to get nauseous from time to time, and ginger chews help with that. So that about covers it. That's everything that lives in my bags. It's everything I take with me when I do pretty much any type of photo video shoot, but specifically live event shoots, concerts, conferences, church services, any sort of live event. This is a really good go-to kit for me. But I am curious to hear from you. Is there anything that I left out, anything that I forgot that I should bring with me, anything that maybe I should consider taking next time, or maybe that I don't have to take next time that I could replace with something else? Let me know down in the comments. I love getting to talk with you guys in the comment section. Also, be sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you liked this video, if you like this content. But in the meantime, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one, whenever that one is. Okay, bye.